Okay, well, thank you very much. Ito po, si Nico Fabian. Nandito na naman po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Welcome and welcome each and every one of you, especially the Filipinos in Malaysia and very specific Filipinos in Kota Kinabalu or here in Sabah. All the overseas Filipino workers, you're all welcome to our program or to my program, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And same greetings and welcome message goes to ang mga kababayan natin dyan po sa Pilipinas po, no? Wherever you are, welcome na welcome kayo dito sa programa natin. And of course, today is March 26 and it's a Thursday, and same thing, we are facing still a lot of problems in the Philippines, especially the rising prices of our oil in the Philippines po because of the ongoing conflict dyan po sa Middle East, no? Sa Middle East. And yes, mayroon tayo dito mga footages, some news that I'm going to share with you po regarding the economic situation in the Philippines as well as other important news po. And of course, also news coming from Sabah or related to the Filipinos here in Sabah po. I'm going to share with you also ang mga balita tungkol ano nangyari dito po sa Sabah, particularly dito po sa Kota Kinabalu. Okay, straight to the point na tayo po. I was made to understand and it was officially announced that no less than our President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has already made mention about the intention of working together with China and solve our shortage of oil in the Philippines and the possibility of having, sabihin natin, itong Philippine-China join the oil exploration po, no? So that we are not going to face the same fate as what we are facing now in the future po whenever or when we will have another problem of oil shortage. And before giving you this news po, let me also share with you a statement made by no less than our Philippine Senator Robin Hood Padilla, no? Robin Hood Padilla, wherein he said it's but proper maybe, no? Sabi niya, to reopen ang Sabah Claim Talks, Sabah Claim Talks po, and talk to the Malaysian government on how to create a win-win situation po, no? Win-win situation, especially now that we are facing itong shortage of oil in the Philippines po. Maybe drop the Sabah Claim, negotiate, and see how to benefit from the negotiation in this Sabah Claim po with Malaysia. And just to let you know that Malaysia is very firm that they are not going to give up ang Sabah as part of their territory. At the same time, Senator Ruben Padilla is also saying opening or reopening of this Sabah Claim Talk doesn't mean that he is fighting for Sabah to be annexed to Philippines po. He said that is really impossible. Even the people, even Filipinos in Sabah, they don't want that Sabah will be under the Philippines po. So he said he's not there to talk about or suggesting about the reopening of the Sabah Claim because he wants the Philippines to get back or get ang state of Sabah. He said that is not his intention. His intention is only to see whether there will be a possibility of having a win-win situation because this Sabah Claim has been a stumbling block between Malaysia and the Philippines for how many donkey years already po, no? Since the 60s, early 60s po. So, let me share with you the statement made by Senator Ruben Padilla regarding this issue po. And let's watch and listen carefully po, no? I think it is very clear what he mentioned during an interview with Politica or Politics Outlook by SMNI. And nandito po ang video clip that I'm going to share with you. And let's listen po to the statement, interview of, sabi natin, Senator Ruben Padilla. Let's watch and listen to this po.
Sinabi po ninyo kanina na sa gitna nga po nitong pagdeklara ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. ng State of National Energy Emergency ay nakikita po yung tamang panahon po ito para maisulong itong claim po natin sa Sabah.
Opo.
Pero paano po natin may mapupursige po ng Marcos administration po niyan, hindi po ba ito magdudulot ng tensyon din sa relasyon natin with Malaysia?
Hindi po. Hindi po ako naniniwala na magkakaroon ng tension po ito. Mas matensyon po yung ginagawa nila sa West Philippine Sea. Mas matensyon po yan dahil ang nangyari po dyan, nagkalabasan na ng mga nagkaputulan na ng daliri, marami na pong nangyari. Ang Malaysia po ay may tuturing natin na kamag-anak natin yan. Malay race din po tayo kung matatandaan po ninyo. At aminado din naman po ang Malaysia magmula pa noon na sa Marcos Sr., kung natatandaan niyo po, ilang beses po yan na nakipag-usap dyan sa Malaysia patungkol po dyan sa Sabah. Tsaka hindi na po uso ngayon yung nakikipaggera. Hindi na po uso yan. Magkakasama tayo sa ASEAN. Pwede pong mamagitan ang ASEAN dyan patungkol dyan sa dormant claim. Ibig sabihin, matagal na po yan na nasa United Nations, matagal na po yan na pinag-uusapan, hindi po yan bagong desisyon. Yan po ay matagal na. Bubuhayin lang natin ang pakikipag-usap at hindi po ibig sabihin, kung halimbawa, kung ako'y gagawing miyembro dyan ng ating Pangulo, na sumama ka dyan sa negosasyon dyan, hindi ko sasabihin, kunin natin ang Sabah dahil imposible namin. Hindi na po mangyayari yan. Hindi na rin po papayag yung mga taong nakatira doon. Ang ibig ko lang pong sabihin, ang nais ko lang, magkaroon naman tayo ng party dyan. Kung ano man yung langis na nakukuha dyan, anggihan naman tayo. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na lulusubin natin, amin na yan. Hindi na po mangyayari yan sa makatotohanan ng pag-uusap.
Oo, kasi yun din sana ang sunod kong tanong sa inyo, Senator, kasi papayag ba yung Malaysia na kunin ng Pilipinas ito sa matagal na panahon, yan talaga yung pinagtatalunan na. Pero ang nakikita po ninyo, sa pamamagitan ng pag-uusap pa rin, dialogo pa rin with Malaysia, ay makiklaim natin itong Sabah.
Opo, alam niyo po, ako po'y, alam naman po ng lahat na ako po'y Muslim, ang mga kapatid po natin sa Malaysia, Muslim din, at alam din naman po natin na ang magkakamag-anak, ang mga nasa Sabah at ang mga nasa Sulu. Ano po yan relatives. At hanggang sa mga panahon na ito, may trade po dyan na nangyayari. Yan po tunay na nagaganap. So wala pong away dyan. Ang kailangan lang natin ay mag-uusap. Buksan ang dormant claim. Ibig sabihin po ng dormant, hindi natin matulog bubuksan lang po natin.
At saka willing din po kayo, bukas kayo na pwede kayo mismo mamuna.
Oo po. Dapat akong kasama dyan. Kasi kaibigan ko yung mga Malaysian. Ang Malaysian ambassador ay best friend ko. Opo. Kasi hindi po away ang gusto natin Ang gusto natin kumbaga, Britain tayo Tayo yung magkakamag-anak buhayin natin yun. At alam ko hindi madamot ng Malaysia. Hindi po madamot na bansa yan. Hindi po tayo mahihirapang makipag-usap.
Alright, yun po ang the way how Senator Ruben Padilla is thinking about reopening the Sabah claim po, not because they want to annex or he wants to get back to get ang Sabah to be part of the Philippines, but he only wants to once and for all solve the Sabah claim and if possible give some shares to the Philippines also po because of itong oil ng Sabah po, no? But again, let me remind you, even the Filipinos dito po sa Sabah, no? Majority of the Filipinos in Sabah, that also goes to the locals in Sabah and the Malaysians, no? That even the Malaysian government is very firm in saying that Sabah is part of Malaysia and not part of the Philippines. Yun lang po. Pero maganda din yun ng suggestion ni Senator Ruben Padilla po on the Sabah claim. Let's see po what will be next, no? Ano ang reaksyon ng Malaysia, and let's see po kung there will be positive developments on this issue. Alright, talking about oil naman sa Pilipinas, we talk about oil in the Philippines, which is now the cause of the rising prices, essential goods. Ang mga bilihan dyan po sa Pilipinas is continue to rise, no? Expensive po, no? Ang presidente natin, our own President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, or BBM, no? BBM, is also open for a joint exploration program between Philippines and China po. Noon pa yun po, that is the idea of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. But because ang presidente natin was more inclined with the US in terms of the military aspect, na pinabayaan na yan po ang economic aspect po, which China plays a very important role, vital role sa economy ng trading activities between hindi lang sa Pilipinas po, but other East Asian countries po dito sa region natin, no? So ngayon, dahil sa, I don't know, is it because that we are facing this shortage of oil, ngayon, nag-open up na siguro po ang mind ng presidente natin na to accept the reality that kailangan po, instead of confrontation sa China, sa West Philippine Sea, siguro it's better for the Philippines to go for joint exploration ng whatever natural resources mayroon tayo po. Dyan po sa West Philippine Sea. West Philippine Sea po. Let's watch and listen to our President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos po, no? Bongbong Marcos. Ito po, sandali, nandito. Where is this, 309 ba ito? Open to reset. 309. Parang wala yata tayong 309 dito. You hold on, 309. Okay. Sandali po. 309. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Ang tensyon sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at
Sandali po. Nandito, let's listen to this report galing sa Pilipinas po. Galing sa national media natin dyan po sa Pilipinas. You hold on. Nandito po. Let's listen to this.
Ikakailang kuminit ang tensyon sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at China sa mga pangyayari sa West Philippine Sea. Pero sa nangyayari ngayong bulog sa Middle East at krisis sa petrolyo, sinabi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa panayam ng American media agency na Bloomberg, bukas siya na i-reset ang relasyon sa China.
I think it's certainly going to happen. I don't think that's something that is like an option. It's happening now. There's going to be a very, very serious restructuring. They will have a lasting effect. And there will have to be a new normal.
Sa gitna na walang prenong pagtaas ng presyo ng crudo, tinanong ang Pangulo kung bukas siya sa isang joint oil and gas exploration kasama ang China. Kahit sa pinagtatalo ng teritoryo gaya ng West Philippine Sea, sagot ng Pangulo, makaraw ngayon, merong dahilan para gawin na ito.
Something that we've been talking about for a great deal. But the territorial disputes should get in the way of that. Maybe this should provide impetus for both sides to come to an agreement.
Punto ng Pangulo, hiwalay naman daw ang kalakalan ng dalawang bansa sa away nito sa teritoryo.
We've always tried to differentiate the territorial disputes from our trade arrangements. Many investments here, the big programs here of the government are coming from China. And they have not used this as somehow, they haven't leveraged this in any way. In quite the contrary, they've been very helpful.
Sa datos ng Department of Energy noong 2020, Ang undiscovered resources daw sa West Philippine Sea aabot sa mahigit 6 na milyong bariles ng langis at mahigit 7 bilyong cubic feet ng natural gas. Kabilang sa pinaniniwalaang mayaman sa natural gas ay ang Red Copa na nasa loob ng exclusive economic zone ng Pilipinas. Dating may joint marine seismic undertaking ang Pilipinas kasama ang China at Vietnam para sana sabay-sabay na magsaliksik sa mahigit 142,000 kilometers na bahagi ng South China Sea kasama na ang West Philippine Sea. Pero ipinawalang visa ito ng Korte Suprema noong 2023. Labag daw kasi ito sa konstitusyon dahil pinapayagan ng kasunduan na makilahok sa pag-explore ng likas na yaman ng Pilipinas ang mga kumpanyang 100% foreign-owned. March 2023, sinabi ni dating DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo na mag-uumpisa ng muli ang exploratory talks ng China at Pilipinas para sa posibleng joint oil and gas exploration. Pero wala nang naging update o balita pa rito ang gobyerno, lalo pat nagkasunod-sunod na ang pangaharas ng China sa mga barko ng Pilipinas sa West Philippine Sea. Nang tanungin kanina ng media si Foreign Affairs Secretary Teresa Lazaro, kaugnay sa posibleng joint oil exploration kasama ang China.
Not at this point of time, but I think it may be forthcoming.
Para sa GMA Integrated News, ako po si JP Soriano.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin, no? There is a big possibility na baka we will push through with the idea of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte na instead of quarreling, no? Instead of confrontation with China, why don't we work together for the joint oil and gas exploration dyan po sa West Philippine Sea? Maganda yun po, no? Maganda yun po, no? We have to think about the economy of the Philippines, and we have to accept that China plays a very important role pagdating naman po sa, sabihin natin, itong economy, no? Trading activities between China and the Philippines po. And let me share with you a news article po regarding ang reaksyon ng China tungkol sa possibility of a joint exploration, oil and gas exploration between Philippines and China. Nandito po, China says its door to dialogue or joint oil and gas development in the South China Sea remains open, but told the Philippines it must first demonstrate sincerity before negotiations can resume. Dapat seryoso daw ang Pilipinas. The Chinese Embassy in Manila issued a statement in response to President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., who told Bloomberg in an interview on March 24 that the global energy crisis sparked by the war in Iran could push both countries to finally reach an agreement on joint exploration in the South China Sea. Quoting, setting aside differences and pursuing joint development is the right path to uphold peace and stability in the South China Sea and deliver benefits to countries in the region and their peoples, the embassy told reporters. The two countries had made positive progress in past discussions, the embassy added. The exchange is the most concrete signal from both Beijing and Manila of a potential restart of energy talks that collapsed 4 years ago or during the time of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and he was the one who brought up this issue. War in the Middle East has driven up oil prices globally and is hitting the Philippines hard as the country sources most of its crude from the Gulf. Marcos declared a state of a national emergency earlier this week. So yun po ang sitwasyon po dyan sa Pilipinas. And let me share with you po a brief a video clip of our BBM po, no? Ang BBM natin. Let's watch and listen to this brief video clip na mayroon tayo dito po. Let's watch and listen to this po.
Para bumalik.
Hold on, ha? Hold on. All right.
Ng langis
Samantala, bukas si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na pagpatuloy ang pakikipagdialogo sa China para sa isang joint oil and gas project. Anya, nagbabago na ang ugnayan ng Pilipinas at China dahil sa pandaigdigang sitwasyon. Gayunpaman, nilinaw po ni PBBM na magkaiba ang isyu sa teritoryo mula sa kooperasyong pang-ekonomiya at dinamin niyang hadlang ang mga isyu sa soberanya para umusad ang energy partnership ng Pilipinas at ng China.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin. To see is to believe, to hear is to believe po. Yun po, nakita natin sa video clip ang presidente natin who already confirmed na he's willing to have a dialogue with China para po yung join the exploration, oil and gas exploration dyan po sa West Philippine Sea. And let's also watch and listen to this report po. Mayroon ako dito po, report tungkol sa sitwasyon sa Pilipinas dahil po sa problema ng langis sa Pilipinas po. Let's watch and listen to this report. Hold on. And nandito po. Hold on. Alright, nandito.
May mga tumaas ang kilay nitong nakarang araw dahil sinabi ng Malacanang na walang krisis sa langis sa Pilipinas sa kabila ng sigalot sa Middle East. Kaya marami din na nagulat na magdeklara si PBBM kagabi ng State of National Energy Emergency. Pero tila kumamyo siya ngayon at sinabing wala raw rason para magpanik ang publiko. Ayon sa Pangulo, sabay-sabay ang paggalaw ng pamahalaan habang patuloy din ang pagtaas at pag-akyat ng presyo ng petrolyo. Malinaw ang pahayag ng Pangulo kanina, sapat ang oil supply ng bansa kahit under a state of national energy emergency ang Pilipinas.
I want to assure everyone that this does not mean that we should panic. It means that we are doing everything that we can to assess and to alleviate the situation. It is a precautionary tool so that we are ready for whatever comes next.
Inilabas kahapon ng Executive Order 110 na bumuo sa Uplift Committee o Unified Package for Livelihood, Industry, Food and Transport o ang pangkalahatang pagkilos ng key service agencies. Kabilang dito ang Departments of Energy, Transportation, Social Welfare, Agriculture, Finance, Budget and Management at Department of Economy, Planning and Development o DepDev. Si PBBM ang nakaupong chairman ng komiteng ito at enforced ang EO 110 for 1 year unless otherwise extended or lifted by the President.
The reason that I declared an energy emergency is to provide government with more options should the need arise. Binibigyan nito ang ating pamahalaan ang mga kapangyarihan kumilos ng mas mabilis, bumili ng langis ng hindi na kailangan na dumaan pa sa matagal na proseso at pagsamahin ang lahat ng ahensya sa isang direksyon.
Pinky, tumanggi magkomento ang Pangulo ng tanungin kung magte-take over ba ang pamahalaan sa mga oil companies sa Pilipinas kung saan deregulated ang ating oil industry. Sa madaling salita, walang control ang gobyerno sa kung paano nagpepresyo ang mga kumpanya dahil sa oil deregulation law. Matatanda ang tanging disruption in oil prices lamang ang kinumpirma ng Palasyo at today muling pinanindigan ni PBBM na walang problema sa supply ng petrolyo. Pero inamin din ng Pangulo na mahirap kontrolin ang presyo ng petrolyo. Kaya ang tanong ng media kanina, Pinky, with the powers granted to the President, does this include regulating oil prices? Yun nga lang ang sagot ng Pangulo, and I quote, "I do not want to get into that discussion." Kaya bukas, nangako ang Malacanang na sasagutin ng Palasyo ang mga katanungan ng publiko.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po ang what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. And narinig natin po ang statement made by BBM. Kumusta na talaga ang mga buhay ng mga Filipinos dyan po sa Pilipinas? Ngayon, mahal na po ang mga pamasahe, no? Bus fare is too expensive, and of course, essential goods. Let me share with you another video clip, the reaction and what's happening to our kababayan po dyan po sa Pilipinas ngayon na mahirap na po, no? Mahirap na po ang buhay sa Philippines when it comes to transportation. When it comes to transportation. So let's watch and listen to this po. Hold on. Nandito po. Hold on. Sandali.
Dahil sobrang mahal ng gasolina, hinara-hina ni Sheila ang kotse niya at nagko-commute na. Dati, magpapagas kami, 500. Ngayon yung 1,000, mayroong 500 na lang. Si Wendy naman, imbes na hanggang trabaho, ay hanggang MRT na lang hatid sundo. Everyday po kasi ma'am nagtataas eh. Kaya talaga kailangan na rin magtipid. So, dinadrap na lang ako dito ng asawa ko. Sabi ng MMDA, mula nitong Lunes, hanggang 30,000 sasakyan ang nabawas sa EDSA. Ang problema, hindi nagbabago ang hirap sa pagkukommute. Maghihintay ka ng matagal. At the same time, siksikan. Nung last commute ko, naipit ako. Sinara yung bus ng, di ba, ako ngayon nasa may pinto. Delay yung train. So, kailangan makapagsiksikan ka. Crowded. Baka nga mas mahirap pa ngayon kung dumami ang mga commuter. Sa MRT 3 pa lang, 13,000 pasahero ang nadagdag nitong Lunes. Pero sabi nila, sapat ang bilang ng mga pagod para sa dumaraming pasahero at may 19 na tren na pumapasada kung peak hours. Para sa isang transport expert, limitado man ang mga tren, sapat pa rin ang public transport. Kung titigil sa pamamasada ang maraming tsuper, pero sa mahal ng petrolyo na nagpatigil sa biyahe ng marami, baka kailangan nga silang iarkila o bigyan ng service contracts ng national at local governments.
Service contracting na concept na yun probably can be extended to jeepneys and tricycles as well. Maybe prioritize buses and jeepneys kasi sila yung pinakamalaki yung capacity. By running them and supporting them, we expect na more people probably will take up commuting.
Gagawin na yan ayon sa Transportation Department at hinihintay lang ma-release ang pondo para sa service contracting. Tiniyak ng kagawaran na tuloy ang operasyon ng mga pampublikong transportasyon. Pero pwede ring mag-bike na lang o maglakad ang mga tao. Kaya tulad nung kasagsagan ng COVID pandemic, panahon na raw ibalik ang protected bike lanes at ayusin ang mga bangketa.
There has to be a more organized effort in order to transform the streets para madaling maglakad. No? Kahit na mainit after, maglalakad yung tao kung safe yung dadaanan nila. Same with the cyclists.
Para sa GMA Integrated News, Rahi Pulido Nakatuto, 24 oras.
Alright, yun po. And that's the latest. Mayroon tayo po tungkol sa mga commuters natin dyan po sa Maynila. And this time around, let's go to the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, wherein yesterday we covered also po and monitored the first day of the hearing proper carried out by the Justice Committee of the House of Representatives, and we saw Representative of Congressman Rufus Rodriguez and Representative of Congressman Terry Ridon exchanging words. Karamihan ng mga motion pass dyan po sa hearing yesterday po was objected by Representative or Congressman Rufo Rodriguez. And nandito po, let me share so that you will have an idea, para mayroon lang kayo po idea ano talaga nangyari po dyan sa hearing kahapon po, no? Sa hearing kahapon. Let's see. Nandito po ang first video clip natin, no? Ano ito? Saan ito? Ito po. Let's watch and listen to this. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Mention, and Madam Chair, clearly this will be the biggest fishing fleet expedition that we are doing. Secure from Congressman Redon, statement of ultimate facts in the third and fourth complaint, which mentions these corporations. Are there any? None. There is none. None. Second, are there annexes that would show in the third and fourth complaint that would, mention and that would pertain to why you are going to ask for subpoena to the SEC and for the records there? Are there annexes in the complaint? There is none. Madam Chair, clearly this will be the biggest fishing fleet expedition that we are doing. Because it was, we only deal with ultimate facts. In fact, we are trying here to determine whether there is violation of the 6 grounds of the Constitution as stated in the two complaints. And so therefore, how can we have that, Madam Chair? So that's the first one.
Alright, that's one a motion na object si Congressman Rufo Rodriguez. Tungkol naman sa absence or hindi nag-attend si Vice President Inday Sara Duterte sa hearing proper ng Justice Committee, nandito po ang reaction made by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. Ano ba ito? Ano ba ito po? Nandito ang reaction ni Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. Ano ba ito? 144. Sana yun 144. 144. Alright, sandali po ha. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this. Okay? Nandito po. Pasensya lang, medyo may delay tayo. But anyway, nandito. Let's watch and listen to this.
Chair, the respondent has the right not to appear. And therefore, she does not need to be present. Because that is the right of a respondent, akin to a accused in a criminal case, as decided in the cases, Madam Chair. That's number one. Number two, the counsels here are not only to advise on the legal rights, they have the right to cross-examine. Because the Vice President will not be present if she's present. She cannot cross-examine witnesses. Because she has lawyers. So therefore, 2 points. The rule that requires that lawyers can only, the participation is only to advise the legal rights of the witness is based on the rules on the investigation in aid of legislation. That is especially found in the rules in aid of legislation, the hearings. But it is not found in our rules. I've been reading our rules of procedure. There's nothing here that limits it to only advising. Therefore, in an adversary proceeding like this, we have to therefore hear the counsels if they wish to be present, but if not, then that is also the lookout of the respondent. But I believe that we should be clear in our rules that the presence of counsel of the respondent has the right to cross-examine directly the witnesses for the complainants. And secondly, there is no need for the Vice President to appear in hearing because that is her right not to be able to appear. And we can make conclusions out of her non-appearance. No need for her to appear. There is no...
Alright, yan po ang that's how Congressman Rufus Rodriguez look at the situation po on the absence for Vice President Inday Sara Duterte not attending the Justice Committee hearing yesterday. Mayroon tayo dito po report from the local media tungkol sa impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte po. Nasaan na ito po? Hold on ang report from saan ito? 354 sandali po. 354 nandito. Let's watch and listen to this report. Okay, tungkol sa impeachment ito po kahapon.
Alvaro, magandang gabi. Pinatikos ni Vice President Sara Duterte ang House of Representatives dahil aniya mas inuuna ang politika kaysa sa kapakanan ng milyong-milyong Pilipino na dumaraing sa mataas na presyong labihin. Kaya naman aniya mas ilalaan niya ang kanyang oras sa pagtulong sa mga Pilipino kaysa sa dumalo sa pagdinig kanina. Hindi dumalo si Vice President Sara Duterte sa unang pagdinig ng House Committee on Justice nitong Miyerkules matapos ideklarang may sapat na batayan ang ikatlo at ika-apat na impeachment complaint laban sa kanya. Ayon kay VP Sara, walang patakaran na nagsasabing kailangang personal na dumalo ang respondent sa mga pagdinig ng impeachment complaint. Diit ng pangalawang Pangulo na isumite na niya ang kanyang answer ad catalog Kaya wala nang ibang dapat gawin ang mga mambabatas kundi ibasura ang mga akusasyong wala namang matibay na basehan. Iginit din ni VP Sara na ang imbitasyon sa kanya na dumalo sa pagdinig ay tila ginagamit upang makabuo ng naratibo na magkakaroon ng mini trial batay sa umano'y hindi niya pagsagot at pagdalo. Binigyan din niya na isa lamang umanong fishing expedition ang pagdinig laban sa kanya. Pinatikos din niya ang komite dahil sa umano'y pag-uuna ng politika kaysa sa kapakanan ng milyon-milyong Pilipinong nahihirapan sa mahal na bilihin. Dagdag pa niya, mas pipiliin niyang ilaan ang kanyang oras sa pagtulong sa mga Pilipino kaysa tumalo sa pagdinig. Sa isang press conference naman sa Makati City, iginit ng defense team ni VP Sara Duterte na unconstitutional ang pagdinig ng komite.
We believe that the committee really has no jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial. Given that the Constitution only vests the power and authority to conduct trial in the Senate, then the House of Representatives or any of its committees cannot do that. We cannot participate in a proceeding that is unconstitutional. We cannot have the Vice President appear before a body exercising power or authority that is vested by the Constitution in another tribunal.
Dagdag pa ng depensa, wala sa batas na nire-require ang isang respondent na dumalo sa pagdinig.
First and foremost, there is no rule, law, requiring the respondent to attend the hearings or the proceedings before the Committee on Justice. I think that's clear. Hindi naman dapat natin pagdibatihan yan. In fact, it's clear also, diba, na if you read the Constitution, wala namang nakasaad doon na talagang requiring the Vice President to attend.
Sa gitna ng mga impeachment complaint laban sa kanya, huling nilinaw ng depensa ni VP Sara na hindi ito nangangahulugang hindi siya sumasagot. Dagdag pa ng kampo na ayon sa batas, ang responsibilidad na magpatunay ay nasa mga nag-aakusa at hindi sa Vice Presidente.
It's not our legal system, diba? Ayon sa legal system natin, the burden of proof is actually on the accusers. Doon sa mga nag-a-allege na may ginawa siyang impeachable offense, the burden of proof lies with them. No? Dapat pakita muna nila na matibay ang kanilang mga ebidensya.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po, no? Anong nangyari sa hearing kahapon. Alright, karamihan ng mga tao din po, mayroon mga tao, mayroon din pabor sa continuation of this Justice Committee hearing proper. It will take another, I think, three more hearings po. But mayroon din mga tao, they were saying, kung after all, ang Justice Committee, they already said, they found out that there is sufficient in form, sufficient in substance, sufficient in grounds sa dalawang impeachment ni Inday Sara Duterte. Why waste their time doing this hearing wherein nandyan na po, no? Kailangan na nandyan na po. Why don't they make the report to the plenary so that ang plenary ng House of Representatives will now vote for the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, after which it will be transmitted to the Senate for the Senate to decide and jumpstart ang impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte. Sabi naman ng grupo ni Inday Sara Duterte, we are not going to go there because klarong-klaro, there is no law that says hindi pwede ang respondent not to attend the hearing proper of the Justice Committee, no? And they are ready to face, gusto nila po, they will answer itong lahat mga allegations sa proper platform, and that is kung may trial man po sa Senado, doon sila po magsagot lahat ang mga allegasyon kay Inday Sara Duterte. So, sana lang po diretso na, no? Diretso na. And a lot of people, especially, no? Ang mga supporters ni mga Dutertes po, they were saying, after all, ang dami na mga supporters or those who are in favor of the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, that includes the mga congressmen, they claim that they have the number to pass. No? When we talk about the number, it means 1/3 votes from all the 300 plus congressmen. So kung makuha sila ng 1/3, and that is around slightly over 100 votes, 105 or 106 votes po, then pwede na yan po hand over ang report nila po sa plenaryo so that the plenary will make a decision po and transmit it to the Senate for the possible full impeachment trial kay Inday Sara Duterte. No? Why waste time pa? No? Kung mga congressmen dyan po sa Justice Committee, they are confident po na they have the numbers. Yun po. So, it will save time, it will save money. No? It will save time and it will save money. Let's see po what will happen. Okay. Ano naman ang mga reaction? I have one a video clip dito po na reacted to the impeachment hearing of Inday Sara Duterte, and it's coming from the mayor of Zamboanga City, si Mayor Kimer Olaso po, no? Mayor Kimer Olaso. May brief statement siya dito po, and nakita ko po, no? That many of the Filipinos, be it in the government or ordinary Filipinos po, they support ang statement made by Zamboanga City Mayor Kimer Olaso po. Let's watch and listen ang statement made by Mayor of Zamboanga City, Kimer Olaso.
Tama na yung mga nyo muna dyan, may impeachment, kalukuhan yan. Magtrabaho na muna kayo lahat dyan. Ay masin from the top to the bottom of the country, mga officials natin. Dahil ko sa President, the Senate, and the Congress, you have to work first. Trabaho muna kayo. Impeachment, kalukuhan yan. Ano kayo? I'm not happy. Mga bugog lang gumagawa ng ganun. Ayusin nyo muna yung bansa natin. Ayusin nyo muna yung problema na to before you go to impeachment. If you want, do something good for the country and you run on 2028 again if you win. Hindi yung ganun na. Dito tayo sa in the middle of crisis. Lagi, impeachment ang pinag-usapan. Tama na yung mga
Alright, yun po. That's how ang mayor ng Zamboanga City, the way he look at the situation po. Kailangan na po, focus na tayo sa try to find a medium term or long term solution ng problema natin po. Itong mga rising prices of oil sa Pilipinas po, because it is affecting the daily lives of every Filipino po, no? Instead of wasting time dyan po sa impeachment. But anyway, nandyan na ang impeachment. I-fast track na natin yun po. Fast track na natin. Huwag na tayong mag-epal because some Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, they were saying, this mga congressmen dyan po sa Justice Committee, allegedly lang, they claim na epal lang yun po, no? They want to prolong this hearing so that they will have exposure po. And gusto ang mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, I don't know ang mga other overseas Filipino workers if they agree, but I think they also agree na okay, kung may number na, tuloy na yon, i-transmit na yon agad-agad. You make the votation doon po, you have the numbers, and then send it to the Senate para mag-umpisa na po ang impeachment trial. And according to Senate President Vicente Soto, he will make sure that kung sakali mayroon man impeachment trial kay Inday Sara Duterte, he will make sure that it will be ang hearing from trial will be held every day from Monday to Friday para madali po. And they will come up with a decision whether to convict or not to convict si Inday Sara Duterte. Many are saying, including Inday Sara Duterte, ang Vice President natin po, this is a political maneuvering because they fear and they don't want that Inday Sara Duterte will be the next president of the Philippines or be the successor of BBM po. Medyo takot daw itong mga tao po to see Inday Sara Duterte to be the next president because they fear ang repercussion po, no? Lahat yun na mga wrongdoings nila sa mga corruption, allegedly lang, no? Si Inday Sara Duterte is one leader who do not condone, do not agree itong corruption po sa Pilipinas. No? She is very concerned about protecting the interests and welfare of every Filipino and the future of ang bayan Pilipinas po. Yun po ang sitwasyon po. No? In the meantime, let's focus ourselves. Hindi lang focus po, we also pray for the intervention of our Creator, no? Whoever or whatever names you call the Creator po, no? To intervene and help solve this problem po as soon as possible. Alright. So, siguro hanggang dito na lang muna tayo ang programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. I hope maski paano I managed to give you yung mga importanteng balita na kailangan ang mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito sa Sabah, to know what is happening because we are sending money to the Philippines po sa mga loved ones natin, dyan po sa Pilipinas po, hoping that they will have a better life, no? Hindi lang ngayon, but also in the future. Kaya nga, nasakripisyo talaga ang mga overseas Filipino workers magtrabaho sa labas ng bayan natin. So, with this, once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. I'll see you in my next episode. Take care. I love you, and I'll see you in my next program. Bye!